Welcome back, y'all. Ryan Hall here with the weather forecast. Today, we're talking about a massive winter storm that's going across the United States. This is going to bring severe weather to Texas and Oklahoma. Additionally, it's going to bring heavy snow and ice to places in the Midwest all the way over to the Mid-Atlantic. And then right after that, we have another big shot at a massive snowstorm that's going to affect the East Coast. So we're going to look at all that, okay? But if you're only interested in a certain part of this video, there are clickable timestamps down in the description below, and I'm going to throw them up here right now so you can skip to whatever part you want to watch. However, I encourage you to watch the whole thing because it all ties together and it's really interesting. I'm sorry I haven't posted in a week. I know I've missed a lot of exciting things, but if you didn't watch my last video or if you don't follow me on Twitter, then you don't know the reason why I didn't post. It's because my wife gave birth to our first child. Echo was born on January 19th, and he's happy and he's healthy. And of course, his first movie with Dad was Twister. Okay, let's get right into talking about the weather. Uh-oh, here it is, the big view of the United States of America. Now, we do have a marginal and slight chance of severe weather down in Texas and Oklahoma later today. I'll talk about that more here in a second. But for now, we've just got a little bit of snow moving through West Virginia, Ohio, Pennsylvania, down across Lake Erie. This is going to keep pushing east and bring some snow to Pennsylvania and maybe some mixed precipitation to Maryland, Northern Virginia. The models have been showing this for a long time. This is moisture disconnected from our main storm that's really going to kick up later today. Now, if we zoom down in here to Texas, here we are, we're close to Dallas right now. You can see those thunderstorms are really starting to pop up. Now, this is associated with our massive winter storm. This is the first stage. We're going to have some severe weather down here today, and all of this is going to culminate with a low pressure system, and we're just going to see a lot of stuff, man. Heavy snow, ice, severe weather, maybe possible tornadoes. Let's briefly take a look at the future, the whole trajectory of the storm on the NAM model. Okay, here we go. This is the North American model. This is kind of like a simulated radar of what it's going to look like later today. All right, here we are right now. Here's our snow and stuff that we was just looking at in West Virginia. We've got some heavy bands of snow up in the Rockies up here in the four corners of the United States. And here's our little bit of moisture that's working together in Texas to spark those storms you can see above my head right now. Okay, watch. That snow in West Virginia fades away. Our moisture in Texas really starts to amplify, and it converges with that disturbance that's moving over the Rocky Mountains from Colorado and New Mexico. And then right here, 4 a.m. tonight, we've got heavy rain in southern Kansas and Oklahoma, all the way into Missouri and Kentucky and Tennessee. And then on the backside of here, we've got a low pressure system really trying to pull down some cold air, and we've got heavy snow for Kansas, Nebraska, and that's going to move on into Iowa. They're going to get a lot of snow out of this. And then check this out. As we put it into motion, we've got a really thin band but heavy band of ice that's going to affect a lot of Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio. And then once it gets into the Mid-Atlantic region, it's really going to affect them. But we still got heavy rain down here in the southern Ohio Valley and southeastern region, and we've got heavy snow in northern Missouri and then back in Kansas. This, a lot of those people are going to see a lot of snow from this. And then as we put it into motion, here's our ice and our snow progressing. Looks like most of the snow in the Ohio Valley is going to stay north of Columbus, Indianapolis, and Springfield. It's going to be up here around Chicago, points west. That's really where you're going to see the most snow from this storm. But as you can see on the front edge here, we do have a little bit of snow moving into Maryland and Pennsylvania, and we've got that ice here on the panhandles of West Virginia and Maryland. And then as we play that forward, it kind of fizzles out, and then watch here, we've got another storm really trying to get its act together. This one's going to be interesting. If you're just a weather lover, you're going to love what the models are showing for this, okay? Okay, now that we've got an overview of what's going on, let's take a look at each part one by one, starting with the severe weather. Let's go. Okay, let's take a look at that HRRR model, really zoomed in simulated radar here. Check out these storms as they fire up in Texas. So here we are about right now. This is what the HRRR model is looking like for these storms above my head. These are not the main event today. Let's put this into motion a little bit more. And then as you can see here, once we really get that Gulf flow going and that low pressure system starts to deepen, that's when we really start seeing our storms fire up. Got some pretty big areas of rain in the panhandle of Texas, over here in Oklahoma and northeastern parts of Texas. But what we're really looking for as far as significant weather goes is this area right here. There's a possibility for some storms to get out by themselves and maybe create supercells, surface-based storms with cyclonic rotation. So tornadoes are possible, but also because there's so much cold air aloft, big-time hail probabilities in this area. Let's play this radar out a little bit more. This converges into just a big old mess of rain up here in northern Texas and Oklahoma and Arkansas. But this southern portion of these storms, that's what we're really looking for as far as severe weather goes. These are the ones that could possibly cause some damage with straight line winds and the isolated tornado or two. We've got a little bit of what looks like a squall line, a little bow echo of storms there that could cause some wind damage, and then that just keeps going on. And then later in the night, more storms form near Dallas, just east of Dallas, and that could spark another severe weather problem tomorrow. So that's how that plays out right there. It's gonna intensify pretty quick, and then all of this is just pummeling into this wall of cold air, and then that right there is going to be heavy snow. They are in Snowtown, baby. So here's another view of the HRRR model. This is the significant tornado parameter. It's not the only thing you look at whenever you want to see whether or not there's going to be tornadoes, but it is interesting to look at. So the ingredients are here for tornadoes, but we do have a problem. Now what we're looking at is CAPE, okay? This is convective energy on the surface of the earth. This is kind of like the fuel that the storms need to really take off. And if you look at your key down there, these CAPE levels are not very high. They're, decently high over here in southwestern Texas, but this isn't really where those storms are going to pop up at. We need this CAPE to be high over here if we want to see more severe weather. There's a cap in place. There's a lid on the atmosphere, and the only way those storms are really going to pop off and cause the problems that they possibly could cause is if there is an erosion of that cap. And if that happens, it will allow the updrafts to penetrate through the atmosphere and cause these big towering cumulus clouds, and we're in storm town, baby. Maybe even tornado town, baby. If that cap breaks, turn the sirens on, son. All right, popping back over here to the radar real quick. Let's take a closer look at these storms. Here's a pretty good little cell working into Dallas. No severe thunderstorm warnings on these just yet, which is kind of surprising, especially on this one near Seymour. Look at that storm. You can see the purples and the blues and the pinks there. That indicates that this storm's probably pretty tall. And in tall storms in situations like this in January, where we have a ton of cold air aloft, you're probably dealing with a lot of big hail in that storm right there. So that's going to probably be the main story of today with these storms. All right, I spent a long time on the severe weather there. Now let's talk about the snow. All right, here we are back at the NAM model. Let's put this bad boy into motion. Here's our Gulf moisture coming up, converging with that low pressure system and all of this energy over here in the Rocky Mountains. We've got an area of ice from the panhandle of Texas all the way into Missouri near Kansas City, and then all that moisture is going to run up into that cold air, and we're going to have heavy ice central Indiana through Illinois, Missouri, and then back into Kansas. And we're going to have heavy snow up here in Nebraska, Kansas, and Iowa. You can really see this play out right here, that deep purple right there. It's really going to be coming down in these areas, maybe in excess of 3 inches per hour. And that's why they're going to get just bombarded with snow totals as we go forward. This area of snow lifts off to the north as the low pressure system goes east here, because we kind of had two small cyclones here that's helping to keep that warm air in place for areas a little bit further south. So the snow's going to stay north, and then that moves through Iowa. Now we're into Chicago, and we've got rain from Kentucky all the way down into Louisiana. And then as we keep moving that forward, the snow really sticks around right here, so they're going to pile up the snow totals a little bit, and then it goes out. Let's take another look at this storm from the Ohio Valley perspective. Look at that ice, man. Now this isn't going to be some historic, devastating, damaging ice storm, but it will be pretty significant for some areas. And then as we push that forward here in Northern Virginia and the panhandle of West Virginia, that's where I expect the most significant ice to fall, as that heavy rain really just rams into some dammed up cold air, and we have a little bit of a warm bubble in the middle level of the atmosphere, allowing for the snow to melt, and right before it hits the surface temperatures go back to around freezing. So we're going to have some ice problems there. Also in central Ohio near Columbus, and then here comes this heavy snow band from Iowa into Illinois and very northwestern parts of Indiana. Around Chicago here, you guys are going to see some heavy snow out of this, and it just kind of lingers and then it dissipates as it moves out. All right, let's shift our attention over to the mid-Atlantic. Check this out. Here we got ice and snow in Maryland and Virginia and West Virginia here. It's going to start off as a pretty heavy band of snow. If you live in Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Maryland, even in Delaware, you guys are going to get a little bit of snow. But that's quickly going to change over to a mixed precipitation and then freezing rain. D.C., Northern Virginia, this area right here, you guys can see a lot of freezing rain. So let's play that back one more time. Heavy snow. Now we've got heavy ice. This is, if this falls in the form of freezing rain, we may be talking about a pretty significant ice storm here, but there is a chance that this will fall as sleet. That might make it a little bit better. But just looking at the NAM model here, if I move this back, this is from 10 p.m. all the way till 10 a.m. the next day, 12 hours. If we actually get 12 hours of significant ice fall snowfall like this, we're going to be looking at a pretty major ice storm here. And then as we move on, I don't think this goes far enough to see the next storm, no, but you can see the moisture coming up. And this could be another one that's pretty significant for this area right here. And this one will probably be snow more than ice. Okay, we got to take a look at that snowfall map. How much do we got? It looks to me like the winners here are going to be Kansas, Nebraska, Missouri, and Iowa. You got some areas here in Kansas that's going to see close to 16 inches of snow from this, and it's going to come down fast all the way up into Chicago over here. You got 6 to 8 inches possible. Just north of St. Louis, 8 to 10 inches. A lot of south and southwestern Iowa is going to see over a foot of snow. Southeastern Nebraska, well over a foot of snow. And then in this area right here, we can see a pretty general 1 to 4 inches of snow. Columbus and Cleveland, 1 to 2, if you're lucky. In this area right here, once again, it's going to be mostly ice that we're seeing. But Maryland looks like you could still see 3 or 4 inches of snow if it doesn't get too bombarded by that frozen mixed precipitation. And then this kind of cuts off up here, and it doesn't really do anything for the areas of the interior Northeast and the coastal regions of the New England. All right, now we're going to be taking a look at the next storm that's coming up, and this one's pretty exciting for people in the Mid-Atlantic region, especially in Virginia, possibly even North Carolina. So let's put this this Euro run into motion here. There's our first storm. We're watching it go through, and then our second one really comes together right here. We've got our cold air coming down. We've got lots of Gulf moisture in place, and then that's going to meet up, right here around eastern Kentucky, North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, southern Ohio. This is going to start off as a pretty good shot of snow for you guys. And then once it moves off the coast a little bit, once the main center of circulation moves off here, a low pressure system is going to form, and it's going to try to bring down even more cold air. And look here, we got northern North Carolina getting a little bit of snow. We got all of Virginia and West Virginia in the snow zone, and then that deepens a little bit, and it really intensifies once we get on the coast of Virginia here, Maryland, Delaware, this area right here. If this was to verify, you guys could see some pretty intense bands of snow and possibly some good wind gusts out of this. And then as it keeps going, it bombs down to a 967, and we got a lot of cold air coming down behind it here. And now all we need is a slight change, a slight shift in the track of the low pressure system, and we've got a major, memorable, significant East Coast storm for the Mid-Atlantic areas of the United States. So as of right now, this run of the Euro, it's just showing a 2 to 4 inch general area of snow for Virginia, West Virginia, into Maryland. But geez, take a look at over here in California. Some of these people are going to see up to 6 feet of snow with all the moisture we're getting in from the Pacific, and all of that stuff is just getting thrown into the Midwest and the eastern part of the United States, and it's really fueling our active pattern that we're getting into. Let's take a look at some other models. All right, this is the Canadian. Let's put it into motion. We've got our storm a little bit more organized on the Canadian at an earlier point. This is 4 p.m. on January 27th. We've got heavy snow all the way down into Arkansas, Missouri, Western Kentucky, and then that goes ahead and starts to deepen before it goes out to sea. And we've got a 1,003 millibar low pressure system right here in the Piedmonts of the Carolinas, bringing down that cold air. We've got cold air advection moving down here, heavy snow in the Appalachian Mountains, and then that's going to keep chugging along. Once again, heavy snow in the Appalachian Mountains regions, and now it's getting into Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, and we've got a 986 millibar low pressure system off the coast of North Carolina, and we've got some pretty tight isobars here. So, this one looks more like a very significant winter storm, because even though this goes by pretty quick and it's not going to leave like 2 feet snow totals for anybody in this area, once it deepens this much, if this verifies, we're going to see some brief blizzard conditions in these areas, which will make for a pretty fun time if you're a snow lover. And then that deepens down to a 977, and then it's kind of out to sea. And then the Canadian does show more storms as we go into the future. Looks like all the way through the first week of February, we're going to stay in this active pattern. And if we take a look at snow totals for this one, this is a little bit more significant according to the Canadian. We got 2 to 4 inches all the way through the south central part of the United States here in Missouri, Arkansas, a little bit of Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana. We've got a pretty big bullseye in the mountains of eastern Kentucky and West Virginia here, with some areas getting over a foot of snow. And then as you can see here, all the way down into Virginia, there's areas with 6 to 8 inches of snow, 3 to 6 inches of snow all across Delaware and Maryland. So this would be a little bit more significant if this was to pan out. All right, last one. We're going to take a look at the GFS now. Let's put this bad boy into motion. There goes our first storm, and our second one really comes together right here in the heart of the Appalachian Mountain region. 1,006 millibar low pressure system with a little bit of snow on the Ohio River, right? It just follows the border there. And then it really deepens down to a 997, still overland in North Carolina, and we've got heavy snow. Eastern Kentucky, the mountains of Virginia and West Virginia, all the way up into southwestern parts of Pennsylvania. And then watch this. Boom. 991 millibar. Once again, heavy snow in Virginia and West Virginia. It just kind of sits there for a second. And I think that says a 985 millibar. And now we've got heavy snow in Washington, D.C., Baltimore, and Delaware. A lot of cold air advection coming down, and then we move it again, and it just moves a little bit, 978 millibars. Blizzard conditions all across from Virginia Beach all the way up into possibly southern New Jersey. Maryland, Delaware is getting absolutely slammed right here, and then we go all the way down to a 969 millibars. We're still getting a ton of snow in Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, and then that moves off. It's basically like a Category 2 hurricane. Not really, but I mean, that's what it looks like kind of here on the surface map. None of the other models are saying it's going to be that strong, but it's very interesting to look at. We're not that far out from the storm. All we need is for the rest of them to correct this way, and we are looking at a huge storm. I know you guys want to be in Snowtown, and it might be your time, buddy. I don't know. And just for fun, let's pull this all the way out, and let's see what else the GFS shows for us. There's another little storm on the 1st of February, and then another one on the 4th of February. Ooh, whoa, whoa. Check this out. Wouldn't that be nice? Blizzard for Western Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana there. Wow. It's been a long time since we've seen a storm like this. This is a rare path for a storm to take. And it's really interesting for the people that live in this area. And I know a lot of you guys would like to see this, but we are very far out. Turns into kind of like a nor'easter as it goes on up. It just follows the Appalachian Mountains. We call this an apse runner. This would be a dream storm for a lot of people in Ohio, some parts of Indiana. I hope that verifies. It probably won't, but I hope it does. And then right here on the 8th of February, the last frame, we got another big storm getting together. I mean, you know, like I said, guys, before this current storm came in and the next one that we're talking about, I kept saying that we're entering an active pattern, and that's exactly what's going on right now. I told you. Okay, guys, that's all the weather talk I have for you today. It feels good to be back. I am exhausted. Having a newborn is just as hard as they say it is. I need a haircut. I need more than 3 hours of continuous sleep. But I am back on the grind here, and I am enjoying being a dad. It's all worth it. I do want to say thanks to everybody who, you know, said congratulations and showed their support in the comment section of the last video. You guys are awesome. I'll try to include Echo in the next video. I'll show him to you guys. He's a little busy right now, so yeah, make sure you leave a comment down below letting me know what you think. What do you think is going to happen with that next storm? We're pretty certain what's going to happen with the one that we're talking about right now, but that next one that comes in a little bit next week, North Carolina, is that where you're going to get the snow? Maryland, Delaware, is it going to go a little bit further north? What do you think is going to happen with it? I'd love to know. And once again, make sure you are subscribed to this channel, like the video, all that stuff. It really does help. And I'm going to go probably change a diaper, guys. I'll see you in the next one, okay? Goodbye.